I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sam.
And this is Progression in Progress. Alrighty, how we doing today, Sam?
I am awesome.
Good,
How about you?
good. Well, this is things are going well so far. Last time we tried to start the recording, I dropped my phone right as we started recording. So far we're doing pretty good, I think.
Yeah, a much better improvement.
Yes, sir. That's progression in progress right there, baby. Just one step at a time.
Exactly.
Well, so what? I think this is episode 11. Didn't know we'd make it this far. Just kidding. I would at least hope we would make it this far. I've been having a good time doing it. I hope everyone is enjoying the podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback. Love to hear what you guys are thinking. And most of all, if you guys want to share, or if you could share it with some friends, share it with some people who you think could benefit from this, that'd be amazing. We would really appreciate that. So I guess getting that out of the way, we can move into what we are going to talk about today.
Yep.
All right. So Sam and I were kind of talking this week. That's how a lot of the episodes, that's how we kind of come up with the ideas for a lot of our episodes. We just kind of talk throughout the week. You know, we were always talking about this stuff before we did the podcast. And we still talk about it even when we're not doing the podcast, you know, we're not, as we're actively recording like we are right now, we still talk about it. And one of the things we kind of talked about a little bit this week, not a ton, but a little bit, is we talked about kind of figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life. And I guess, or figuring out your career, or figuring out what you're passionate about. And that's we were talking about that a little bit this week. And we wanted to bring that discussion here into the podcast and kind of just have, almost like last episode, just kind of have a kind of candid discussion about that, and see if we can help each other. This is definitely, you know, most of the time we try not to really give 100% direct advice, because I think we both believe that this is progression in progress. This isn't, you know, we said this at the very beginning, you know, we're not at the end of the race or the end of our career, at the end of our progression. We're at the beginning. So instead of telling you what we think you should do, we just have a discussion, and hopefully you can figure out what you could apply to your own life and what could be beneficial to you.
Yeah. So like everything that we say here, maybe it's kind of like you said, it's a progression in progress. So this is kind of a cool thing. We'll kind of be talking about what we think about stuff, and then later on we can see if it actually worked or if this is actually good advice or not. So hopefully it's good though.
And yeah, one of the things I've said before is, you know, a lot of times when I learn the most, when I'm listening to other people talk or teach or talk about this kind of stuff, I most of the time gain more by extracting something that they said, you know, extracting something and then applying it to my own life. That's what I gain the most out of, you know, listening to things like this or hear people talk about stuff like this instead of them telling me exactly what to do. A lot of times I don't benefit from them telling me exactly what to do, but rather I extract something from, you know, extract a small bit from something and then apply it to my own life, because then it becomes personal and more real.
Yeah. And it's not like we're experts on anything. So like anything we say, like, yeah, just take stuff that sounds good to you and we can all help each other.
Yeah. And apply it to your life, and hopefully it'll all work out.
Yeah.
So, okay, going back to the topic. So figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life, or what you're passionate about, or what you want to major in, or what you want to do for a job, just that kind of general topic is what we wanted to touch on today. And I guess, yeah. So I guess where I'm coming from is, you know, I'm about to start school. I just finished up my summer term online, but now I'm going back to school in person, half online. And I'm going to be taking classes for my major, or so I can prerequisites so I can apply to the major that I want to apply to. And I kind of am just thinking about, is this really what I want to do? Is this something that I want to do for the rest of my life? What aspect, you know, what emphasis within this emphasis is what do I want to focus on, and just those kind of things. So I don't know. What are you thinking, Sam? Just at the beginning of this conversation, what are you thinking?
So, man, it's kind of a loaded question, honestly. Like, and it's, at least for me, it's kind of hard to think of too many things to kind of, I mean, okay, so I don't have anything figured out. I'm still, you know, trying to figure out what I want to do and how I want to do that. Like, I guess my kind of story, like you're just going into school, and for me, like after I finished high school, I don't know what I'd. Uh, I said I'm putting it in past tense, but also in present tense because I'm still kind of in the same place where I'm not really sure, like didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and so I kind of had some like I kind of thought I had some passions, or I've always been into like technology and things, so I thought it'd be kind of natural just to kind of start off and take a leap of faith in trying computer science when I first went off to school. And it didn't quite work out for me. I don't know if it was like truly what I loved, and so ever since then, that's kind of where I've been just trying to figure out what I like to do and what what fields I would like to get into based on those kinds of interests. And yeah, it's been a couple of years since then, and still trying to figure that out. So I think it's kind of good to have these kind of discussions to figure out what and we've talked a lot for like on my behalf of well, what do I want to do, how do I want to do it, or what to learn. And so that's kind of where I'm at. It's honestly just so much. It's almost a bit overwhelming just to think about, just because I don't have it all figured out. But I think it's good to continually have these conversations with people, and because it definitely helps them to figure that out eventually. I don't know if that's kind of the same for you. Like I kind of feel like even if you're like talking to someone else about just how to figure out what they want to do, it kind of also helps you in a little bit.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I guess where I'm at, and I feel like this is both of us. I think this applies to both of us. I feel like we know what we want to do, but we don't know what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is kind of like we have things that we really like and enjoy, but then the hard part is matching that up to something that you can turn into a career, something that you can support yourself with, and then something that you can, you turn it into a career, and then it's something you enjoy, and something, you kind of have to match what you like into something that already exists. And I guess if it doesn't exist, you have to find a way to create that. But most of the time, I feel like you can find something to match it. It's just that matching that is hard.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's kind of nice in a way though that I've kind of seen this recently, or maybe it's just because of the whole age of the internet and like influencers and things like that. But if you have like a passion for pretty much anything, there's typically some way that you can find a way to like monetize that, or make something that you can kind of, support yourself with. And like, I don't want to say like, uh, just whatever. I mean, it goes both ways. Like I think people should definitely look into and like try to do like more traditional things, but also like just kind of know that there are kind of other options out there for doing other things that most people probably wouldn't think about. There are weird jobs for lots of things that I find out about every day, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, finding that balance. I think, I don't think there's anything wrong with going for a traditional route. I think there's a reason why so many people go for a traditional route, and I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to make something on your own work.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess to make things a little more personal, one thing that has been always tough for me is I feel like I know what I like. Like I know what I like doing on a general level, but I am not 100% confident of how to, or 100, I don't know the perfect way to match that up to some career or some job. So like, for example, I really enjoy talking to people. I enjoy being busy. I enjoy traveling. I really like not building in a physical sense, but like building and setting up things. And that, like, like almost like organization. For some reason, I enjoy that. Like when I get a new computer or a new phone, or have to help someone set up a new computer or a new phone, or I move in or somewhere else or something, I really enjoy that beginning organization process. I like setting things up and making it, everything nice. And one other thing that I like is I like the potential for growth. But then the problem is I have all those things that I like, that I enjoy, but how do I match that up with the career? And that's what's, I think, is tough for me.
I think kind of for me, I don't know if I'd even say I kind of know what I like. Like ever once I stopped going to school and just started to go and work, like I kind of feel like that has kind of helped me see kind of what I like and things like that. But it's kind of more in like a broad sense rather than like, okay, I am interested in this one field and I want to do this thing. Like I've also kind of I don't know if I even kind of did before, but I kind of have started to like kind of talking to people more, working with people, um, and um, then yeah, I don't know, like kind of the jobs that I do now are very like customer service oriented and just kind of uh, thinking through problems pretty quickly and just getting everything done. And so I think I kind of have learned that I kind of like a faster paced environment, at least a little bit. And then I think at the end of the day, just kind of helping people. But the problem for me is that it's just those kinds of things are just so broad and can apply to so many things that now I think I need to take that and kind of narrow it down and then kind of specialize that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the specialization. I guess that's the theme of this conversation so far. Is the specialization is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, like I want to apply to the finance program, and I think it'd be really cool to have a job in finance, but that's such a broad category um, that it's almost a little overwhelming to try to think of what exactly I want to do within the finance world, I guess, because there's so many different jobs. For example, you could, I mean, one thing that pops into mind is you could be like an analyst, right? A financial analyst. And like, I love finance, but I'm not entirely sure if I want to sit in front of a computer and do Excel for 8 hours a day. But I might enjoy sitting in front of a computer doing Excel for 4 hours a day and then being in meetings and talking to people and figuring things out for the other 4 hours of the day, Or I may just want to be, I may enjoy managing or, being on an organizational level, kind of like what I was talking about earlier. And I guess I could just go on and on and on and on about the different things. I feel like it gets overwhelming trying to figure out what that specialization is. And I guess just kind of to transition, I think one thing that I struggle with is I'm a little impatient with this. I want to kind of just wake up one day and be like, oh, there it is. Boom. I got it. Time to go full ham, time to go ape, time to grind it out. I got my thing. And I think one thing that's hard is seeing so many other people in the digital age. We sound like boomers saying that, but like in the digital age, right? It's very easy to see a bajillion different people who have found what they want to do and then they go ham, right?
Or it seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it. And then I'm sitting over here like, okay, I know what I like. I know what I think I want to do, but I'm not confident. And then I get a little impatient that I just want to start sprinting right now and just go for it,
Mm-hmm.
But I think I really just need to take a step back and be patient. I'm starting my sophomore year of college, right? I got 2 more years in school, plus I got more time after that, right? A little bit of time after that to find a job, to figure out, transition. And I think one thing that we forget is I think we get a little short sighted because I am impatient when it comes to this. I want to figure things out right away and I just want to hit the ground running. But a lot of times people end up switching things around and then it takes some time to figure out what they like. For example, my dad majored in accounting, right? He majored in accounting, got in a job with accounting firm, and then eventually switched to personal finance. He's a financial manager, financial advisor. And then even within that, he worked for one company for a while and then switched and started doing his own thing. And, it that's been over 15 years. And I'm kind of expecting to wake up one day and just figure it out. But I think it takes a long time. I think we're just impatient is kind of what I'm taking out of this conversation right now, is that it's going to take take a long time. And what, especially if you get a general degree like I'm getting or hoping to get, something within business, there's a lot of opportunities to switch. Maybe more so if you were a pilot. There's not much you can. I don't know. I might be wrong. Who knows? Maybe there's a million different careers within the major pilot field or something like that. But I think what I'm trying to tell myself is that I just need to be patient. I'll have experience through internships. I'll have experience through classes. I'll have experience getting a job eventually one day, and then I can course correct. I guess in addition to being patient is you have to be, willing to course correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think for me, like, of course, I definitely feel that way as well. Like, it'd just be so easy. Like, once you find out what you want to do and like you see how you can achieve that, then you can just, bam, hit the ground running, just get it all done and start advancing in your career and you're all good to go. But I kind of feel like for me, it's not exactly, or at least for my problem, isn't being like impatient, I guess. It's more of being kind of decisive about it. So like for me, and maybe it is kind of like I think we've kind of talked about before, like I feel like we're kind of like shoved in one direction, and then it's like, okay, just figure this out. And I almost feel like there's like kind of a, or at least it seemed like there's like some kind of a time limit placed on it too. Like, okay, figure out exactly what you want to do with your life, and then go, get your degree in that or whatever, and then just have it all figured out. But so like for me, it's like, okay, I need to figure out exactly what I want to do, like right now. And then like I've always had the fear of after that, like choosing that thing, and then, oh well, what if I don't like that thing, or this thing actually didn't match up with what I am actually passionate about. And then 4 years down the line, you're already done with everything and you have whatever degree or however, whatever work experience or whatever you did to get to that point, and then just feel like it was all for nothing. And I think that is kind of an extreme thing that most likely doesn't happen. Or like you said, like you can kind of graduate or can finish training for one thing, and then later on you can just switch to something else kind of similar. But even that, just kind of thought of that almost kind of like, I don't know if the word scares me a bit, but it just seems like there's so much riding on the decisions we make right now for the rest of our lives and careers that it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Well, I guess while you were talking, I'm thinking, I think you're right. There is a lot of weight. There's a lot of, I don't know what the right word is. There's a lot of weight, I guess, just on the decisions we make. And one thing that I wanted to talk about a little, I feel like I have my opinions of school are sometimes polarizing. My own opinions, personal opinions, are opposite of my own personal opinions, if that makes any sense at all. Like one day I'll be like, school's the greatest. This makes so much sense. I can see how this helps me. And then other times I'm like, school's the worst. School is destroying my creativity. School is so rigid and isn't helping me figure out what I need to do. Do I even really need school? And it kind of flips flops back and forth. There depends on what aspect of school I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And I guess today in this podcast, I'm going to choose the not so positive view of school. One thing that I feel like is tough for me is I feel like school is really rigid, and that it's like, okay, I got 4 years. I mean, obviously you can do more, but the goal is to do it within 4 years, and just figure it out. And it's kind of like once you get on a path, it's so hard to switch that path. It's not impossible, but it's so hard to switch that path. For example, I have a bunch of different interests, but you kind of have to kind of narrow it down and kind of just send it with one of them. And then hopefully one of those sticks, or not one of those sticks, but hopefully it sticks. For example, I'm interested in business and I'm fairly confident that's what I want to do. Right. And then I'm also fairly confident if I get a business degree, I'll be able to have a little bit of freedom to switch around eventually at some point in my career. But at the same time, I also love media. I mean, I'm sitting here doing a podcast. I love talking to people. I think I am not, I don't think I'm impressively talented when it comes to media, but I don't think I am untalented. I feel like I have a slight, I don't think I don't want it to come off across the wrong way, but it's something that makes sense to me. When I am trying to, I feel like video editing comes easy to me, and I have seen how I've improved over time. And I really like documentaries, and I think it'd be really fun to make a documentary. But at the same time, I'm already stuck into my business classes, and I'm on that path, and I'm not angry about that. But I also wish there was a little more flexibility, um, to kind of explore different classes, explore different options. But at the same time, I don't want to. I think we're that whole tangent right there. I think strayed a little from the progression and progress mindset. And I think if I were to reframe it in the progression progress mindset, I would be like, okay, yes, it is a little rigid. You kind of have to. Once you start on a path, it's hard to switch. The opportunities to kind of try things out are limited. But I think this is when it comes time to implement. Take control of what you can.
Right.
Um, so I'm taking business classes right now. School's got that covered for me. I'll learn business at school. And if I really do feel passionate about media or want to explore that option, I should use my free time to do that.
There isn't like a right or wrong answer for like how I've always viewed school, at least, after high school, is it just kind of depends on what you want to do at the end of the day. Like, there's nothing wrong or bad about going to school. Like, it's true, like, you will have some maybe less time or things to really explore outside of whatever you're studying, but I kind of feel like that's the point in a way. Like I personally don't feel like, unless you have something that you really need or really want to learn, that you like can or should go to school for, then it's probably not worth going to, just because of not being able to, like, there's some things that school just, you can't learn certain things or fields from school, or like if it doesn't significantly benefit you, then I just feel like it's a kind of a waste of money and time. But I think at the end of the day, you just kind of have to figure out, what do you want to do? Like, if you want to become a doctor, then you're going to have to go to medical school for a lot of years. And, that's totally fine. But, for some other jobs and careers, like, maybe it's better to, maybe there's like a trade school or something you can go to and you can just do that. Or maybe you can even just like teach yourself. Like, the amount of knowledge that's online now is just insane and awesome. You can just teach yourself something and start your own thing, or pick up some certificates or something, and then go start running in that direction. But I think, yeah, despite whatever you do there, there's always some time to kind of, or hopefully you can make some time to kind of also develop or kindle those other interests and things that you have, and see if there's anything that can come out of any of those as well. But it's definitely a hard balance for sure, or
Yeah,
hard to pick.
it is. I think it is. Well, I guess to take the opposite perspective of school, you were saying, or no, not the opposite perspective of school, but just to touch up on that school point that you made. I'm a big believer. Okay, this is what I was going to say. I'm to take the opposite perspective. I am a big believer in school. I really do believe it opens up so many doors for people. But at the exact same time, I think if you have a plan that doesn't involve school, I think that's completely fine. I feel like I've been telling that to you, Sam, for a while, and I've told some other people that who've told me they don't want to go to school. I'm a big believer. If you got a plan, then and school's not part of that plan, I think that's fine. As long as you're not floating and just kind of floating through time, I think that's totally fine to not include school. And I guess just kind of to wrap things up, And I'd like to hear your takeaways after I'm done, Sam, just to kind of wrap things up and summarize. What I took out of this conversation is two things. Is one, is that I got to be patient. I really got to be patient. I can't rush this. I'm not going to wake up and just all of a sudden figure out the perfect exact career, perfect exact thing that I need to do for the rest of my life. I don't think that's how it works. I think we've talked about how things take time. Things take time to progress. Things take time to finalize. Things take time to develop. And I guess it's the exact same with your figuring out what you want to do. So that's the advice. One thing that I'm going to pull out of this is things take time and be patient. And then there's opportunity to change. It's not set in stone. And then two, the second thing that I'm going to pull, that I wanted to highlight, that I'm pulling out of this, is that I got to rededicate myself to exploring my options on my own time. I can't expect school to take care of it all for me. Luckily, school is going to do a very good job of taking care of one aspect for me. My interest in business, school will definitely help develop that and help me learn a lot more about that. But at the same time, I have to take things into my own hands. I can't just expect it to fall out of the sky on a silver platter and I'll just be like, oh, lift it up, and then unfold the piece of paper and it says, oh, this is exactly what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life. I don't think that's going to happen. So I got to take it into my own hands and really put in the effort to figure it out. Because if I care enough to try, if I want to try hard enough to find the perfect thing instead of just a mediocre thing, I'm going to have to accept some of that responsibility and try to figure it out for myself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those things are definitely what I pull out too. And I kind of feel like as a whole conversation, just kind of looking over it, like I kind of feel like a lot of the stuff that I was saying is I feel like there's just a lot of uncertainty in like kind of what I was saying. And so I kind of feel like what I'm kind of taking out of this entire thing is that kind of like what you were saying at the end, that I think, I just need to start investing more time into looking or figuring out what I like to do and what I am passionate about and like what and how I can apply those into a career. Like you do need to be patient to figure that out, but also you need to be putting in the work to actually figure out what that is. So I think that's kind of what I am probably going to take out of this is I need to spend some more time in between of what I'm already doing to kind of figure out how I'm going to progress further and find out what my next steps are. Because I was going to school, then I stopped. So I don't think I ever really sat down and really thought of a plan of going forward. So I think that's kind of my next step.
Yeah. And then I guess just one thing that I was just thinking about to close things up and then we'll wrap it up, is that I think you kind of got to full send it too. You have to be patient. You have to take your time, but you also have to full send it. And what I mean by that is I feel like I struggle with putting myself out there with certain things. I'll have interests and I'll be like, I'm not sure if that's really the type, if that's really matches up with who I am. But I think at some point, sometimes that's good because it kind of helps you, having a little bit of reservation helps you avoid doing stupid stuff. But if you have too much reservation, then you might not experience things that would help shape your opinions, help shape your ideas, and help you figure out what you want to do. So I guess to wrap it up, I got to full send it too.
Yep. Full send it.
Yes, sir. Okay. I guess that concludes episode 11. Sam was saying this was episode 10. I think it's an episode 11. I mean, it'll be obvious once I post this which one it is, but thank you for listening today. We really appreciate it. As always, we're looking for feedback. We want to make this the best show as possible. I mean, Sam and I have a great time talking, and we could talk for hours about this stuff, but we have to turn our conversations, our thoughts into something that's entertaining for you guys. So please give us some feedback. Hit me up, send me a message, call me, whatever. If you know anyone who wants to, if you personally or anyone who would want to be on the show and come have an interview with us, let us know. We're always down for that. Also, leave us some leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out a lot. And then most importantly, you could share it with a friend, someone who you think could benefit from hearing anything that we have to say. That would be greatly appreciated.
Yep. And follow us on our socials. Pretty much everywhere. I guess Instagram and Twitter at Talk Progression. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yes, that is. I think that covers it. We're most active on Instagram. We got to step our Twitter game up.
Definitely.
But I think that concludes it. So once again, thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
See ya.